I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined to me and heard my cry. He also brought me up out of a horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my steps. Psalm 40 talks about having the faith to be able to persevere during a trial. Welcome to a very special episode on the Sixth Seal Ministry channel. Guys, we are going to talk about survival in this video. When I first started building bug out bags, sustainment systems, man-portable kits that you could strap on your back and walk into any element, any terrain, any weather condition, any survival situation. My average loadout was around 85 pounds. As I have aged and gotten fat, I realized that carrying 85 pounds is outside of my comfort level. I'm not saying that I'm not going to get back there, but I don't really think there's a reason to carry 85 pounds worth of gear. They say the more you know, the less you have to bring with you, right? I'm wearing my authentic tiger striped jungle boonie hat. Sort of a Vietnam era stage prop for this special edition of The Bunker. We're going to talk about what to put into your bug out bag. I personally don't care what you carry into the woods. This is not a judgment. I am not trying to be critical, telling you that if you carry 40, 50, 60, maybe even 80 pounds into the woods that you're doing it wrong. I am not going to judge your survival strategy. I am going to tip my hat to anyone who has the courage, the tenacity, the will to survive, because God will incline his ear to your prayer. I don't care if you're 8 or 80, guys. Life is worth fighting for. Life is worth living. I've shared many anecdotal stories in my past of survival, growing up homeless, growing up in the city of New Orleans, literally homeless at 15 years old. My father threw everything that I owned in a rucksack on the front lawn one night at 15 years old and told me, "There's the way." From that experience, I learned that you really can make do with little. At 15 years old, what do you have? I promise you, there were not chocolate chip cookies in that rucksack. There was some socks, some skivvies, a couple pairs of jeans, a sweatshirt, and a field coat. No food, no money. Of course, this was before the internet and cell phones and pagers. So I had to hoof it. I had to put that rucksack on my back, and I had to walk probably 10 miles maybe, 7, 8, 10 miles to my best friend, Randy Bruno's house. We ended up becoming brothers and roommates for a very long time. And he took me in, and he gave me breakfast, or is that? No, I think that's a song. But I'm going to show you what I have in this bag right here. I think it's going to help you guys in determining whether or not you're making smart choices. Let's face it. After you have figured out where you're going, when it's time to leave, probably the next decision that you need to make is, what do I put in my bag? You have to think about this, guys. You have to LARP. You have to pack, unpack, put it on your back, and then you have to go do an overnighter with it. You have to experiment with your kit. Much of it is like camping. However, much of the camping that we see today in the modern time is nothing more than car camping. We see it everywhere we go, state parks, campgrounds. We have water at the campsite. the bathroom is right over there, and the shower is right over there, and of course we have a place to plug in and recharge our cell phone. So when I tell people, what is bugging out like? What is it like to live in the woods for 6 months in Colorado in extreme conditions? I can tell you that it's not like car camping. I dare say there are many of us that will experience extreme conditions and a survival situation to where we have to build shelter, defend ourselves, collect water, purify water, and of course, forage for food. Therefore, if those are the 3 most important things that you need to be thinking about in a survival situation, then my strong recommendation would be that you focus your bug out bag on those 3 key elements: survival, meaning a sustainment system, a shelter. That's right. Build a shelter as fast as you possibly can. It has to be windproof, it has to be camouflaged, and it also has to be waterproof. Apart from protecting yourself from conduction from the ground and the critters, the scorpions, the spiders, the snakes, the fire ants, the chiggers, the mosquitoes, all those things that live in the woods comfortably when you're not there. You're going to want to protect yourself from those creepy crawlers, right? I'm going to show you how I load out my bag. I'll throw a slide up right now to show you that I told you in my last video that I was going to show you how to build a 40-pound kit. Well, I lied to you, and I have to apologize. I am sorry I told you I was going to show you how to build a 40-pound kit. I stand corrected. It's a little more than 37 pounds. Sorry. I'll try to throw some Snicker bars, maybe some M&Ms in there, pump it up a couple pounds. Maybe I'll go buy the 2-pound bag of chocolate-covered M&Ms, the peanut. What do you like, the peanut or non-peanut? I'm kind of a peanut guy. Some of you have food allergies though, right? You better not take the peanut ones. But maybe you got to bring dog food with you. So there you go. Your dog is going to be your best friend, right? You got to think about that. You got to think about building a bag for your dog. Make your dog carry his food bowl. Put a saddle on him if he's big enough. If he's not a little ankle biter or a little lap dog, then put a saddlebag on him and make him carry his food bowl and maybe some food. Outside of that, he's going to eat what you eat, right? He's going to eat what you eat. Trust me. Wow, you don't know my dog. My dog is very finicky. It has to have Alpo. It's Alpo or nothing. Listen, when any animal gets hungry, it will eat whatever it needs to. Okay? It will eat corn on the cob. It will. It'll eat Brussels sprouts. Trust me. Have you been hungry? Yep. Y'all been hungry? This means yes. Your dog's going to get hungry. It'll eat whatever you eat. So if you're going to forage for food, then you don't have to worry about packing in a 50-pound bag of chow chow or kibble. I don't know. I don't have a dog. I like dogs. I like animals. But we're gone so much. We travel a lot. Dogs are a lot of work, particularly the dogs that I like. They're kind of high energy. You've got to be able to exercise them and run them. And it's just something that I respect those people that have pets and dogs. It's just, it doesn't fit my lifestyle. I hope you don't judge me for that. It's not saying that I'm not a dog person. I am. I love dogs. Absolutely love dogs. But I'm at a time in my life right now where it just doesn't fit my lifestyle. It doesn't fit our lifestyle. Besides, I've got a white leather couch. Can you imagine? After a run or a hike, coming home and... No. Mountain Dew wouldn't like that. I'd be sleeping out with the dog. But I'm going to break down the contents of this bag for you in this video. You like my boonie hat? I have a set of fatigues, authentic Vietnam-era tiger stripe. This was the fatigue set, of course, that was worn in the movie Apocalypse Now. And I think it's probably one of the best camo patterns out there. Everybody is in love with multicam. But where I live in the Smoky Mountains, Tiger Stripe works really well, and so doesn't Woodland camo. Probably my two favorite camo patterns would be Woodland and Tiger Stripe. So you want to think about your clothes, your feet, your head, your hands. You're going to put the appropriate outerwear on your body. You're going to try to prevent from sweating as you're carrying 37.7 pounds on your back. You need to make sure that you layer properly, that you take breaks. I recommend traveling at night when it's cooler. Do a mile, a half a mile. Start out with this pack on your back and walk down the street and see how far you can go. Depending on the incline, the terrain, the shoe that you're wearing, all of these X factors are going to play a key success rate as to how long it's going to take you to get to your bug out location. Now, in a follow-up video, maybe we'll do a series. It's just going to depend on how many people are interested in this subject. I know this channel is focused on politics, Christian content, and I am obviously deviating from that format, but I want you to realize something, that I'm a holistic teacher. I teach everything. So from time to time, if this stuff doesn't interest you, then maybe come back in a week or two and we can, we can rag on, Tim Kaine or Kamala Harris or drunk Nancy Pelosi. We can talk about anybody you want. But I'm focused on Psalm 40 right now, as the Bible is encouraging me to have faith during perseverance and persecution. We talk about it all the time on the Sixth Seal Ministry channel. We're going to overcome. We're going to adapt. We're going to survive. So in this 37.7 pound backpack, I'm going to recommend a couple of things. First of all, right out of the gate, that you choose the right backpack. Many of you are buying non-framed backpacks that are designed for 25 pounds or less, and that bag is not going to work. Think of your average 25 liter to 35 liter Alice pack. I know the military loves them and they use them for years and years and years, but unless you buy the frame that supports that Alice pack, you're making a mistake. The backpack that you have has to be fitted for your torso, your body type, your weight, your physical ability. And I recommend a very large bag, at least 75 to 85 liter backpack. This is a Kajka 85 liter, made out of, I want to say 600. I'll annotate the denier nylon on this. I want to say it's 600, maybe 800. It needs to be a minimum of 500. Stay away from the polyester backpacks that you see everybody buying at REI, the Ospreys and all those kind of bags. They won't work. They will not last. They will get snagged. Yes, they weigh a pound or two, and that's the big selling feature. Those bags are designed for people that are going on hiking trips. You're not going on a hiking trip. You're walking into the woods and you may not come home. So your bag has to last. Think of this as your turtle shell, right? Or for those of you from Texas, you guys have those possums down there on the half shell? We've got them here too in North Carolina. We don't find many of them, but I see them on the road taking dirt naps all the time. Yeah, I call them possums on the half shell. Armadillos. You're going to be carrying your house with you. So it has to be quality. It has to be made out of a very strong nylon, a waterproof nylon. I recommend Kajka. I have for years and years. Both my wife and I use these backpacks, and we absolutely love them. I love the clamshell design where I can top load as well as I can get to the inside of the main compartment, the main cavity of the bag, by laying it on the ground and opening it up and not having to dig all the way down to the bottom. A couple more things I want to say about your backpack. Make sure it's big enough. Make sure the quality's there. But also make sure that you're loading it correctly. You want to put all of the heavy stuff at the bottom, not the top. You want to try to carry that load with your hips. All of that weight needs to be supported by your hips, not your back or your shoulders. So you want to make sure that you're loading that bag to where everything down there at the bottom is all the heavy, bulky stuff. All right? We could spend hours and hours and hours talking about how to through hike, how to backpack, how to ruck, and all the different bags out there. I'm not saying that whatever bag that you have is not right for you, but I am giving you my experience and my opinion, and take it for what it's worth, guys. These are expert reviews that have been given for years and years and years on quality equipment like this. All right? So let's go ahead and take it off the scale, open it up, talk about what I have in my bag. Remember, guys, we're talking about sustainment, which is your shelter system. And then, of course, we're going to talk about procuring your sustainment, procuring food and water. Those are going to be 2 out of 3 activities that you're going to be spending the most time doing. 2 out of 3 activities. Procuring water, foraging for food, and then, of course, fire making. Those 3 things. So once you've got your bag, once you've built your shelter, focus on procuring food, water, and firewood. So you're going to see right away that that's what my bag focuses on. It doesn't focus on communication. It doesn't focus on even food, per se, like consumable, ready to eat stuff. In fact, I don't even have a cook system. I don't have a cook system. I'm not carrying anything that I'm going to run out of. Batteries. I don't even have a flashlight. I don't have a solar charger. Guys, this is an extreme, relatively rough environment. This is a grab on the go and run like heck bag. This is I'm running to the woods and I'm going to hunker down for 30 days. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hunker down for 30 days. So you're going to have to figure out how to build a base camp, stay safe, and obviously collect food, water, and procure firewood. All right? Now, I do have some comfort stuff in there, a little bit of hygiene. But for the most part, this is a bare bones bag. I could overwhelm you with that 60 to 70 to 80 pound kit that I've built many of for years and years and years. But the problem is that many of you guys don't focus your economic structure or your financial situation around spending $5,000 to $6,000 on a bug out bag. And you don't have to spend that much money. Yes, this bag was $400. It was. It's $400. But you don't have to spend a lot of money on the inside. Spend your money on the outside and then slowly but surely add up the things that you need to and then upgrade as we go. And so we're going to be talking about some of those upgrades as we progress through this bag dump. All right? So let's go ahead and break it down. 40 pounds. Let's see if I can still carry 40 pounds. If I can get it off the hook. All right, let me show you the back. You see the support system on this? It's designed for torso width as well as height of the body. Strong external or semi-external wood frame. I have a little bit of self-defense right here. Just a little tactical survival knife. And you can add one to the outside of your bag if you want. I think it makes it look cool. I really do. I think you're definitely cool if you have a survival knife and a whistle. That's it. That's all I have on the outside. Now I do have some compartments right here. This is for trail mix. As I'm gathering, hunting, as I'm walking through the woods, I'm going to be gathering tinder. And this is why I keep these pockets open. I'm going to be looking for birch bark and for small conifer material, as well as some, just anything I can find to burn. Punk wood, anything. Chaga. All right. maybe I come across some fat wood. I'm going to stick it right in there, right? I also have these side pouches where you're designed to carry a water bottle, but I have a rain fly, and I actually camouflaged it. I spray painted it, and this is going to allow me to camouflage as well as provide another layer of protection for my bag. All right? Now, this bag has quite a few compartments in it, and in no particular order, I'm going to show you what I have. Remember, I told you I had a little bit of hygiene, just a little bit. And I'm just going to pull stuff out and we'll talk about it. All right? I have a fork and a spork. That's right, I plan on finding a Ruth Chris Steakhouse in the woods, so I'm bringing my own fork. I'm going to show you where to find tenderloin and backstrap in the woods. I'm going to show you where to find that. So you're going to bring a fork with you. You're going to need that. Remember, guys, we're going very bare basic, very rudimentary. We're not bringing a bunch of fancy electronic equipment. This is not the design of this system. So I've got a MC2 compass. That's it. Probably the best compass made. Made by Sunto. Get you an MC2. I want to say they're 80 bucks maybe. Well worth the money. Plus it'll start a fire. All right. Get you a multi-tool. I don't care if it's a Swiss Army knife or a Leatherman. I carry Leathermans on my chest rigs, but some sort of multi-tool. You're going to need to repair, craft, and maintain. I talk about that in my SHTF 201 video series on my other channel. I talk about the importance of crafting, maintaining, and repairing. This right here is your workshop. This is a very good thing to have. Yes, it has some weight to it, but that's it. A good Swiss Army knife. All right. There's actually two zippers right here in the hood. Also dubs as a fanny pack. Survival guide. SAS survival guide. Doesn't weigh much, plus it's fire starter. Remember, try to find things to put in your bag that serve as two purposes. More than one purpose for sure. Two purposes. So once you've memorized chapter 2, well then guess what? It becomes fire starter. All right, I got a toothbrush. A little lightweight air pillow. A little bit of toothpaste. Now I can create charcoal in my fire, and I can create a way to brush my teeth, and hygiene is very important in the woods. Living in the woods, you want to smell like a eucalyptus tree, right? A pine tree. You can brush your teeth with charcoal. But I have a little bit of toothpaste. Just a little bit. A little creature comfort. Remember I said that. All right, that's everything in the hood. Did you like that? It's all good in the hood. Now there's another little compartment right here that you could supplement some first aid. All right, I didn't put any first aid in mine, but if you wanted to, you could. Remember, we're at 37 pounds, guys. You can always add to this. But you want to start out with just this right here. This right here will keep you alive. Yes, you can always add 20 more pounds to your survival system, but somebody's got to carry it. All right, so my advice is just don't get hurt. I see a lot of these first aid and IFAC kits that just weigh 6-7 pounds, and I just think that's a lot of weight to be thinking about. You want to put some Neosporin in your kit, go for it. You know, you don't want to get infected. You get a splinter and you get it infected, yeah, absolutely. But the reality is if you fall down a mountain and break your leg, you're probably going to die anyway. So forget the splints and the ACE bandages and the suture kits and all that other stuff that you need in your bug out bag. Yes, I have a complete trauma kit. I can. But at the end of the day, I've got to get all this stuff to my location. So maybe I want to cache some of this stuff in the meantime. Think about that. Maybe taking one of these roto motor coolers and burying it out in the woods and putting all of that homesteading stuff in there, all that supplemental stuff. But this is something that you should be able to throw in the back of your car and keep this in the wintertime. And it's all you need. It's really all you need, guys. I can count on one hand how many times I've been to the hospital. Actually, I can count on one finger. All right? So, remember I was talking about the weight needs to be in the lower portion? So, I have in here, this is designed for your sleep system. I have a 0-degree sleeping bag. And I actually have 4 of these. These are really good. I bought 4 of them, and we use them hunting. This hike and bike. This is a 0-degree Fahrenheit by Hike and Bike, and it's goose down. Not a synthetic, it's actual goose down. Now the problem with goose down, while it keeps you warmer, and I think a lot of the synthetic bags have come a long way, but the thing about goose down is you got to keep it dry. If it gets wet, you're in trouble. So you want to air this thing out if it gets wet. All right, one of the other creature comforts that I have is I have a Thermarest sleep pad. These are about $300. I spent more on this than I did this. You can spend a lot of money right here, guys. You can. A lot of money. You got to remember that rest and staying comfortable is very important in survival. So think about that. 0-degree bag, you can layer up and you can build a fire, and you can spend $800 on a sleeping bag if you plan on bugging out to Mount Everest if you want, but 0 degrees is all I need. I've actually spent the night at 19 degrees with just a wool blanket. I did that in one of my previous episodes to see if I could do it. I want to say it got down colder than that. I was cold. I was definitely cold, but I had a lot of clothes on. So 0-degree sleeping bag and a nice sleep pad. Now, if you don't have $300 to spend on a sleep pad, I'm going to tell you a little hillbilly Appalachian trick. All right? This little mountain boy is going to tell you guys a trick on how you can build your own $300 Thermarest. It's made by Hefty. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy you the big contractor bags. Get you about 3 of them. I don't know how many's in here. Feels like more than 3. But get the big ones. These are 55-gallon, I believe. The heavy-duty ones, the ones that the contractors use for construction debris, not the little thin kitchen garbage bags, but these are the big ones. And you can stuff this full of leaves, pine boughs, and they're pretty strong. I mean, I've had tile and concrete and drywall, nails, wood. I mean, they're pretty strong. And you can actually create your own sleeping system, sleep pad, with just contractor bags. If you don't want to run out and spend your money on one of those Thermarest pads, all right? Plus, once again, this is multi-purpose. This acts as a ground cloth, it acts as a sleeping bag, but it also acts as something for you to be able to forage in, right? Plus, you could rip it down the middle, and then you could also create a waterproof membrane for your roof structure if you're building your own shelter. I don't have a tent. I'm not bringing a tent with me. I'm going to show you my sleep system now. It's old school. It's always worked for me. In fact, the entire time that I stayed on that mountain in Colorado, we didn't live in a tent. We didn't have tents. We built 3 fires and we stationed them around our perimeter, and one of us always had the responsibility of maintaining that fire. And we would build big fires, like logs, long burn. We didn't have to get up much, maybe once in the night just to stoke it a little bit. And then we would center ourselves inside of the perimeter of those 3 fires. Now, we weren't trying to be stealthy, we were trying to stay alive. There were a lot of mean and nasty critter out there, mostly wolves and mountain lions. I did have an encounter with a mountain lion while I was out there. Thankfully, you guess who won that fight. But building a shelter system is integral. Like I said, it has to be stealthy. It has to be lightweight. Remember, you're trying to maintain 37 pounds. But most of all, it just has to keep you out of the elements. You have to stay dry, and you have to stay out of the wind. all right? So let me go ahead and show you my sleep system, my shelter system, should I say. And I'm not sure if it's on the left side or the right side. It's on the other side, but we'll go ahead and talk about this. Leather gloves. You're going to be doing a lot of work with your hands. Protect your hands from calluses and cuts and scrapes and whatnot. Leather gloves work the best for me. You might want to get you some mechanic gloves. The problem that I have with a lot of these gloves that they sell for $20 and $30 and $40 a piece is they don't last long. I've had these cowhide gloves for 20 years. The problem with cowhide gloves or deerskin gloves is when they get wet, they're useless. So that's the only thing I don't like about them, is that they get wet. They're not designed to keep my hands warm. They're designed to keep my hands protected. That's all they are. All right? Maybe you don't have the money to go out and buy a big super shelter system, but you can go to a building supply place and buy you some Tyvek. Now the problem with Typar and Tyvek is that it's white, so it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. But it's a waterproof membrane, and it works as a ground cloth. And I have a bunch of these cut up in different sections. One of them I use for when I'm processing wood at the fire. I'll lay one down on the ground. But I just cut them up in various sizes. You see that? Can y'all see that? Let me hold it over here. This one's probably 6 foot by 2 foot. And I'll try to annotate where I bought this. I forget, where did I buy this at? I don't remember. I don't remember where I bought this. I'm kidding. I find this stuff on the job site everywhere. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them right there. And I just put them in this little pouch, okay? Super cool, right? All right, you're gonna wanna purify water. I like gravity-fed filters. This is a Katadyn 6 liter. I have many different types of water filters and water purifiers. Obviously, boiling the water is going to be the best way to do it. But in the meantime, if you find a mountain stream, this works just as good. Plus it allows me, because it's got a long straw, I can actually take a shower with this. So it serves more than one purpose, guys. So think about a gravity-fed water filter. I like them because you can take a shower with them. You can hang them up really high and use the straw and get underneath it and just do a little quick sponge bath with it. Maybe you fill it up with some warm water, okay? You can tell I've done this a couple times, can't you? Build you a latrine. All right, here's a little bit of hygiene. Most of this is just for doing sponge baths and cleaning my utensils. Sponges, Brillo pads, Scotch-Brite pads, and a little small drying towel. Okay? I think I've got a washcloth in there. And I don't have any toilet paper in here. I've got a washcloth. I'm going to go out in the river or the creek or the stream, and I'm going to take care of all those dirty parts, right? I'm going to take a bath every single day. I did it in Colorado. We didn't have wet wipes up in Colorado and toilet paper. We did it old school way. We just did sponge baths, washed ourselves down, okay? I know it sounds gross to you ladies, but guess what? You get used to it. All right, that's it on that side, guys. So here's where my shelter system is, along with, remember what I said, guys, shelter, right? And procuring food, water, and firewood. So it's a little off balance right now. This table is really not the best table to be showing a bag dump on. But here is my shelter system, along with some tools. I've got a beaver hide strop. Repairing, crafting, and maintaining. Don't overlook maintaining your stuff. How are you going to sharpen your knife out in the woods if you're out there for 30 days? Do you know how much you're going to use your knife? And when it gets dull, you're going to be applying a lot more force. You can skin one deer and have a dull knife halfway through that deer. When I go deer hunting, I bring 4 knives with me and a strop. And I'll use 4 knives in caping out one animal. Don't underestimate the importance of sharpening your stuff when you're in the woods and you're cleaning rabbits and squirrels and deer and maybe the occasional toss them on the half shell. Okay? Probably the best tool in the world is the Silky Saw Big Boy. And what happens when it breaks? What are you going to do? You're going to run down to the Hometown Hardware or get on Amazon and buy you another blade? You're not. You're not going to do that, are you? So you're going to think forward. You're going to think forward. You're going to be like, this might break. Now, I've had this saw for 6 years. We use it all the time. We cut down poison sumac with it, and I probably need to wash my hands right now because I'm deathly allergic to sumac. Get you another blade. Yeah, they're expensive. I think this was $50 just for the blade. I don't remember. But this is a lot of money right here. This is money well spent. Remember, guys, you want to try to conserve your calories. Do you want to bring a hatchet with you? No, you don't. Do you know how many calories you're going to burn? Do you know how loud you're going to be in the woods using a hatchet? Guys, this is not Boy Scout camp. This is stealth. This is staying low, off the radar, off grid. You want to burn as few calories you can. You want to process wood real quick? Get you a saw. Yes, axes are great for building log cabins, but they're horrible at expelling calories. They are. And I know a lot of guys disagree with me on these bug out channels. They'll tell you, oh no, I got to have an axe. I got to have an axe. Great, go for it. You're going to burn a lot of calories processing firewood every single day. Do you know how much wood it will take you to stay alive in the wilderness in the wintertime? And all you've got is a hatchet? No, I'm not doing it. Been there, done that, and I think I even got the t-shirt. Yep. Paracord. Paracord. Camouflage paracord, not the bright stuff. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little surprise here. Different yanks of paracord, 50 feet, 100 feet. I believe that's another 100 foot right there. And you got to be careful with the 550. It's not rated for 550 pounds. It's not. Anyone that tells you that paracord is rated at 550 pounds is lying to you. How do I know this? Me and my wife were camping in DuPont State Park one night in a hammock, and I slung up our hammock with 550 power cord, and in the middle of the night we hit the ground. Now I promise you my wife might weigh 120 pounds, I'm 200, okay? So unless a bear got in the bed with me that night, no, we hit the ground hard. You know what it's like waking up at 2 in the morning from a dead sleep, falling on the ground because you thought this was rated at 550 pounds? It's not. So just remember that. This is used for tying off my shelter system. Okay? You paying attention? This is a very special kind of paracord, and it's called survivor cord. It has wire for making snares. It has fishing line, and it also has fire cord in it. So it's a multi-use paracord. I'll try to link this. I forget how many feet this is. I want to say maybe 200. But I've never used it. This is my extreme bug out survival cord, and it's multi-use. Fire starting. It's got a wire cord in it for making snares as well as fishing line in it. Super cool idea to have in your bug out bag. All right. All right, here is my shelter system. This is a 10 by 20 tarp, and this is made by AquaQuest. Kind of an expensive tarp, but it has a lot of anchor points on it, and I can do a lot of things with this. I can do a lot of things with this, and it's camouflage. I have a hard time finding it sometimes. You don't want a bright orange or a bright red tarp. You want one of them blue ones, go for it. They're going to be seen from a mile away. Spend the money and get you a really good tarp. And 10 by 20 is the perfect size. I've seen guys do 10 by 10s, and can you make them work? Yeah, for 2 people, not so much. 10 by 20 is perfect because you can mitigate a lot of the wind when you've got that extra 10 feet. You can really make a decent shelter with a 10 by 20. All right? Spend the money on that. It's going to keep you alive. All right? Okay, that concludes the side pouches, the bottom sleeping pouch, the top hood part, and I believe all we have left now is the inside. Okay? 37 pounds, can you believe it? Can you believe I've got all this stuff and it's only 37 pounds? And that includes this very heavy duty backpack. All right, wait till you see this stuff. This stuff's going to blow your mind because now you're trying to figure out how I'm going to stay alive for 30 days in the woods, right? You're going to spend a lot of time collecting water, procuring water, building fire, but you're going to be foraging for food. And you want passive and active systems, all right? Deadfalls, figure 4 deadfalls. I got 6 or 7 of them in here. I'm going to be trapping wild game, small game at night, all right? You can get these on Dave Canterbury's website. I want to say they're about $100. Keep them in the plastic. It's called PDF4. It's basically an aluminum figure 4 deadfall trap. And keep them in the plastic to keep the human scent off them. But after you catch an animal with them, go ahead and smoke them in the fire. Now they're aluminum. You don't want to cook them too much. You'll just distort them. I have a cast net right here. This is actually made for active fishing, but I could also use it as passive fishing. So I have a monofilament fishing net that I could run it across the stream, and I could catch whatever. Crawdads, fish, the occasional alligator. I have never seen an alligator at Mount Pisgah, but I'm going to keep looking. I'll let you guys know if I find one. But turtles, I love turtle. I'll eat a turtle. I sure will. All right, here's my snare kit. This is all Vietnam era wire. And you can make these up in advance. And I use those swivel hooks on them, or the snap swivels that you use for fishing. So I've got a bunch of stuff in here for making snares. Right, here's the wire right here. I just put Ranger band around it to try to keep it from cutting up everything. But I build my own snares. Run these along trail lines. Run them along down trees. Squirrels love to cross trees that are down. So set these up along trees. Create a funnel where rabbits go. And you'll eat good. You will. I'll fold that up later. All right, how much time we got, guys? Bank line. Bank line is very effective. It's very strong. I want to say this is weighted at well over 500 pounds. I don't have my readers on. This is number 36. It's right at 600 pounds. Bank line is really good. You can use it for fishing, all kinds of stuff. Hanging animals. Maybe you're building a smoker and you want to make a smoker. You know, you can't have enough paracord and enough line. All right? Maybe you've caught fish and you don't want to eat it all at one sitting, but you want to keep it away from the bugs. This is silicone. And you can buy these on Amazon. I buy them in a pack of 4. They just slide off. I used them for Mountain House, but I realized they would be a good food storage system if I didn't want to eat that fish all at one time. I could put it in here and then stick it in the river. It's silicone. It's not going to puncture. And then put a rock over it, and hopefully a bear won't find it. And then I can come back the next day and maybe bury it in the snow, right? But this is going to keep my fish or meat, anything that I don't want to eat at one sitting, food storage. Think about that. All right? Tackle. Remember, we got active fishing systems. I've got active right here. A bunch of jig heads. I like crappie fishing and bluegill fishing. Yeah, I'm a panfish guy. I don't really like bass. I've caught them. I don't really like the flavor. They don't really taste good, but You give me a good old crappie or a bluegill, or shell cracker. Now we're talking, right? I've got extra tackle in here, some more fishing line, some other stuff in here. And then I have some yo-yos. This is for passive systems. These are systems that I'd be using at night or during the day when I'm not around. This is an automatic fisher. It's on a spring. You set it in the river, you tie it off to a limb, a catfish comes along, grabs that, and it sets the hook. I've got 1, 2, 3, I think I got 4 or 5 of these in here. And then I have a couple of small skinning knives, fishing knives. I got a Mora. That's actually a fire starter too. In fact, this is Mountain Dew's. I stole it from her. Some leaders. You can actually make jig lines. They're called trot lines with that bank line, and then you could just set some of these leaders off of that bank line, string it across the creek, put some hook, some bait on it. Find you some crawdads or some red wigglers, whatever you can find. Right? But there's a little fire starter. This is a cool knife. I like this knife. Mountain Dew's made many a fires with that one, and I stole it from her. I hope she doesn't watch this video because now she knows I have it. And this is a Rapala fillet knife. Really good for cutting the back meat off of those fish, those panfish. Just fillet them out. I don't debone fish. I just cut the meat right off the bone. That's what I do. I don't scale fish. You see people on a loan scaling fish. I just fillet them. I just fillet them. That's what I do. Cook them in my pot. All right. So that's that. I do have water collection. Now the problem with this is that while it is a heavy duty plastic, I want to say this is 2 liters. It's 5 liters. 1.3 gallons. So as I'm procuring water, as I'm purifying my water, I can store water, hang it on the tree, hang it from a carabiner, take a shower in this, put hot water in it, maybe take a shower with this, okay? Good to have a water container with you. All right? Your knife, very important. We could do a whole video just on choosing the right survival knife. This is the Bark River Bravo 2 and CPM 3V steel. Your survival knife needs to have a 1/4 inch spine. It needs to be able to be high carbon steel. It has to be able to strike a ferro rod. And it also needs to be a minimum of 8 inches in length. That is a survival knife. If your survival knife doesn't meet that criteria, you need to throw it away and go buy you a real one. Spend the $200 and get a real survival knife. Not that stuff you're buying at the 7-Eleven or the flea market. I know you guys like that Rambo knife, but that's not a survival knife, okay? Even the K-bar. The K-bar is not a survival knife. It's not. They break and they rust. This knife will not break and it will not rust. All right? And you notice I've got a little bit of fire steel right here. All right? That's going to go on my hip. This weighs about 2.5 pounds, so I'm going to be down to 34, 35 pounds when I put this on my belt. All right? This is going to cost you a little money, but if you want to do stainless steel, great. But if you can afford the titanium pot, it's got to have a lid with a bail. Your pot has to have a lid and a bail. If your pot doesn't have a lid and a bail, throw it where you just threw that survival knife at and go get one that has a lid and a bail. This is titanium. It was probably 50 bucks. And I have another one over there. I want to say it's a 2-quart from Dave Canterbury's school, Pathfinder school. It's stainless steel. It's a little taller, but it weighs more. And then I have a haboosh. And this allows me to build a tripod out of wood, out of small sticks, small saplings, and then I can hang my pot over the fire. I don't have to set my pot down in the fire. You know how hard it is to get a pot out of the fire? Now, if you don't want to go buy a haboosh, then you can take a stick, a long stick, cut a notch in either end of it, right? Take and cut a notch in either end of that stick, about 4 foot long, string you a paracord across 2 trees, notch that paracord or that stick over the paracord so it hangs, and then do another notch at the bottom, and now you can hang your pot over a fire, and you don't need to do something like this. You know, that's kind of bushcrafty, right? But I've got it. I've used it for years. I like it. It doesn't weigh much, and it keeps me from having to make a bushcraft pot hanger. All right? Comes in this really nifty orange bag. Why is that important? I do think you got to have some type of signal with you. You got to be able to signal. You got to be able to jump up and down if you need help. You know, make a fire. Anything in three fires. This is kind of bright. This is going to be visible. Maybe you want to attract attention. Okay? I like that orange case it comes in. I thought that was pretty cool. All right. We're still thinking about food, aren't we? Mountain Dew made pork chops on our smoker today. I can't wait. Foraging. Wild edibles and mushrooms of North Carolina. There are a lot of mushrooms in North Carolina. I'm going to eat them. When I lived in Iowa, we used to go morel hunting, and morel mushrooms are better than steak. I'm telling you right now, they are better than steak. But this has got pictures in it, guys. You want to stay away from any kind of wild edible book that doesn't have color photos in it. All right, there's 5 or 6 plants in the wilderness that will kill you, drop dead, like right away. You want to watch out for those. Okay, hemlock's one of them. You want to find out those 5 plants that will kill you. All right, last but not least, the most important thing. I would dare say this is the most important thing, and you want to talk about redundancy and efficiency and effectiveness. I'm going to sit down for this one, and that is your fire kit. There is nothing macho about having an overbuilt fire kit. Okay? We're not trying to compete with Captain Caveman with making bow drills and any other kind of fire making method that the caveman did. But I probably have one of the most exhaustive fire kits you've ever seen in your life. How do I know this is important? Because do you know how much it rains in North Carolina? Now, this wouldn't be needed in Arizona. I would do 10-mile hikes in Arizona in the desert and Sycamore Canyon. And I would bring just a flint, just a piece of flint. Never had a problem making a fire. It doesn't rain in Arizona, maybe one day a year. It rains every day here. And making fire in the rain sucks, big time. How many of you guys have watched Dual Survival? How many of you guys have watched On Alone where they fail at making fire because the tinder, the material, and the woods are wet? All right? So you're going to want to focus on creating as much redundancy in fire making ability. I'm not going to spend all the time that we have left in this video to talk about all the stuff that I have in here to make fire, but it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how much stuff I have. Okay? I even put hand warmers in here. You know how hard it is to make a fire when your hands are cold? Hand warmers. Put those in there. All right? Pocket bellow. You can wake up a dead fire with just a pocket bellow. Done it many times. All right? What else? I do have a little cheater. Just a little bit of cheater right there. But I've got flint and steel. I've got regular sailor's lighters with the cotton. It has to be cotton. And I got a couple big lighters. I've got a lot of ferro rods. I've got waterproof matches. I've also got another knife that allows me to strike a ferro rod that I don't really care about. You know, it's orange. That way if I drop it, I can find it. All right. Are you cool? You guys having fun learning? Oh, what about that? You got that in your fire kit? See, that covers more than one item, doesn't it? It covers repair, maintenance, as well as making fire. Did you know super glue is flammable? It's extremely flammable. Put a little bit of that on your tongue and watch out. You got a red hot fireball on your tongue. I'm kidding. Don't put this in your mouth. Don't ever put super glue in your mouth. Keep your Bic lighters in the package. They could accidentally get depressed and you lose all the butane. Do not throw away your Bic lighters when they're empty. They will still create a spark. They can still make fire even though they don't have any fluid. All right? Ranger bands are flammable. Notice I have a Ranger band around this one because it's already been opened. I've used it. But I have a Ranger band around it to protect it from depressing so that I don't empty the fluid inadvertently. I also have cotton in here to make char cloth, a bunch of it. I got some hemp, dryer lint. I got all kinds of stuff. Making fire is absolutely credulous, guys. Absolutely credulous. There's probably more stuff in here, tucked away, hidden away. No, that's it. If I can't make a fire with all this stuff, then, man, I'm in a mess, aren't I? Hair gel. When you have hair like mine and you're in the wilderness, you want to take care of your hair. Looking good is a key thing in survival. You have to look good. You never know when that bear's going to walk up to you and go, you know what? You look too good to eat. So get you some hair gel. Okay? This is made by Axe. Right? You know I'm kidding. You know I'm kidding with you, right? I don't care how you look. This is actually a 10-powered binocular lens. I put two of them together and put some duct tape around it. And this is going to help me make a fire. It sure will. On a sunny day. On a sunny day, right there. Okay? And I got a little small cloth to clean it. Keep it clean. How about that? You don't need Axe. You don't need hair gel, guys. You need something to make a fire. And it's in a protective tin. I've got Altoids tins. All of this is flint and steel. Right? You can buy this or you can find it yourself. It's chert. They call it chert in Tennessee. But this is actually English flint. I bought 50 pounds of it on eBay. And you can nap it and make knives and tools and arrowheads out of it. It's super sharp. And there's a whole nother video series on how to make tools and knives with flint. But I have various pieces in here and I got to be careful handling them because that one right there is going to become an arrowhead. I just got to work on it a little bit. That's going to be an arrowhead. All right, I got a bunch of them right here. I can actually make a fish hook out of that. All right, you got that, guys? Fellas, 37.7 pounds. Warm and dry, build your shelter, procure your water, set your traps, look for food, and make sure you can know how to build a fire, make a fire, sustain a fire. That's it, guys. That's how you stay alive in the wilderness, 24/7, extended period of time. Yes, you will win alone if you take this bag and walk into the woods. I promise you, you will survive. Till next time, be safe.